Hey, welcome to Olds Mob 455. We're in the shop and now we're starting to do some work on this 73 Olds 442. We got to get a whole bunch of grease and oil off of it, and we're going to change all the suspension bushings, ball joints, tie rod ends and all that. And in the process of doing this work, we noticed something that caught our eye. And if you zero in on this, and you look at this side, this cross member, that's just a dimple that's flat, and all these holes line up for the control arms. And then when you get to this side, I just touched a blob of grease. Everything's greasy here. Here's an added piece of metal that somebody put on here. We're gonna take that off and look, and if it needs reinforcement, do a better job of patching it so you don't even notice it was ever done. And then we gotta check to see, we're gonna run a rod through here and a rod through here and see if they meet right in the center. Because we want our control arms to be, you know, concentric, one side to the other. And we want to be able to have this thing aligned up perfectly so it drives down the road and you can let go of the steering wheel. It actually drove pretty good when we were coming home, and with the worn out parts that it had already, we're lucky we made it home, and anything that we do is going to improve this 100-fold.
We removed that strap there, and it doesn't appear that we need to do anything to the frame. It looks perfectly fine, so we're just going to grind all that off there. I wonder if somebody got sold a bill of goods at a frame shop on that. Between all of us, we really couldn't figure any reason why that was in there. We got that strap cut off of there and polished up, and closely examined this frame. That's why we took the second side off right away. I was going to leave it on there for fitting that first spring, but we wanted to compare the bushing pockets, and there's really nothing else to do here.
Yeah, we got all these parts in a big kit, even the center links and everything. Now these don't have any paint on them, so I'm going with metal etch primer, and then the stuff that has that black oxide paint on there, I clean all the oil off, and I'm going to put another coat of paint on it. So I like keeping everything suspension-wise black. You're not supposed to be noticing, hey, look at my tie rod ends. Some guys like different colors and stuff. I like underneath the car all black. You should be looking at the top side of the car.
We took side 2 out, and these are pretty much in good alignment. We caught this one before it went through the bushing shell, so this control arm should be usable. Got the other one on order, had to get it used for 75 bucks, couldn't find a new one. And all the tubular ones are way too expensive. We decided to finally take the battery out, and homemade battery tray. Shades of the 74. Hopefully it's not all rusted underneath there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have done this on your 74. Look at this bolt sticking up and the battery's rubbing on here. I don't think they can see that in this kind of light, but even if you would have used a carriage bolt, something that wouldn't erode away at the battery.
Yeah, we're going to mount the battery in the trunk of this anyway and probably go with a 4-pole type switch, unlike the Javelin. So it completely kills the car with a cutout switch. Probably what we should have did there, but you live and learn.
It was so greasy and grimy you could hardly work on it. Now once you get this off and get these shafts off, we could even have these in primer.
So here's the original rivets, and I'm going to torch out from the top. So I just scarf into the ball joint and not into the control arm. I could grind them too, but torching just seems so much easier. I think I'm just going to cut the stop off because our kit came with new ones. It fought us some, but we got it off there. And this arm is beautiful. There's no pitting on it whatsoever.
I gotta say that this vehicle, out of all the cars I've ever worked on in all my whole life, I've worked on 40 Fords, 32 Fords, 57 Chevys, 55 Chevys. I've never worked on a vehicle that had this much grease piled up and oily and sludgy, and it's everything we touch, we're getting all covered with grease and glob. But it'll be all clean after we end up finished up working on it. Those are mice flying all around.
They're everywhere. Look at them.
Remember that one guy that said there's a mouse alert? But it was just a big soot. When you're working on these cars, it's just cleanup. When you first get it, you know, it's been around for a long time and it gets dirty and grungy, and all we do is clean it up and then it looks like a new car. But the difference between a California car and Wisconsin cars is if you come here and take a look at this, it was coated with oil and grease. In Wisconsin, these, even though they're cadmium plated, sometimes they'll rust away and you gotta replace them. Some guys just don't even replace them. But like my buddy's 87, like Grand National or 442 Olds, the backing plate holds the brake shoes and everything, that was just rotted away. We had to get a new one. They're paper thin. And these would be all rusty and corroded. You just get the grease off them. This looks like a brand new casting. It's just unbelievable.
All 4 of the holes are in perfect alignment on both sides. Not sure what the deal with that was, but it looks a lot better without it. And this may seem like an ass-backwards way to do this, but I'm gonna just clean up, prime and paint the areas underneath the control arms. And then when we take the motor out, we'll paint the rest of it. It's a small block, and it's probably about the same weight as the big block with aluminum heads. We want that weight to be on those bushings when we torque it down on the ground. Here's the bushing pocket and the bushing. Fits in there perfectly. And the other side. It's identical.
I'd say that's good undercoating. It won't rust out on the inside. If we clean it all up, it might rust.
We're gonna try to get all that crap out of there.
You might lose some weight. There's gotta be an ounce of shit in there. This is years of accumulated oil and grease and sand.
This ain't even the bad side.
I don't even want to put it into the bath of oil. I mean, mineral spirits until I get all this crap out of it.
This frame is beautiful. It doesn't have any rust pits in it.
Well, I'm sanding everything down, and the painted A-arms will look just as good as the frame.
Looks like a jewel in his hand. Here's a new ball joint, came with the kit. There's no relief port for the grease, so I have to be careful not to overfill this. Thanks for watching.